Oh, mothers, don't you turn your backs on your children. Children, don't you leave the family, no, no. Ain't no point in living life all by yourself. So why can't we just find a way to stay together? Let's stay together. Life's too hard to make it all alone. And peace and harmony don't come packages with bows. True love ain't something you find laying around, don't you know? Let's stay together. Life's too hard to make it all alone. And peace and harmony don't come packages with bows. True love ain't something you find laying around, don't you know? Let's stay together. Let's stay together. Let's stay together. Yeah. Let's stay together. Let's stay together. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, after walking away from their draconian record contract, Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo were free, and they worked with a small independent label for a while before starting their own company, Bel Chiasso? Is that
Chiasso.
Chiasso.
Yes.
And finally, you guys could call the shots. How did that change your life? I know we touched on it before the break, but how was that for you guys to start running things in your own
You
terms?
can do this part. It was great.
Well, it was relieving. When we did the True Love record, that was like a cleansing period for us. So we got to put a statement in the career and say, okay, from this day forward, we can elaborate, do more things different, bring in some different people, and create different types of atmospheric changes in the
It
music.
just broke the...
You needed that, though, regardless
needed
of
it.
what it sold, didn't sell,
Correct.
although it did go gold.
But even back in the beginning, each record was different, with the exception of Precious Time and Crimes of Passion. Those are only two records that are similar. All the other ones were always had a different feel to it. So none of that ever changed. What we did in the very beginning continued on. The only thing that made a difference was the what do you call it? The business side, the capital side. You know, the
scheduling, everything.
Answering to somebody else, we had to answer to ourselves.
Right.
So that's a little more responsibility. It's like being married, you know.
I'm going to switch gears just a little bit because there's something that Pat said that I was always interested in knowing the answer to. You said that Priscilla Presley had become a hero of yours, and I was just curious what you meant by that and why.
Because
In
she
what
went after her husband died, after Elvis died. You know, they were practically bankrupt. I mean, the whole thing had been run so poorly over all those years, and all the money they made was squandered, and people had, you know, the same story that always happens. And she went in there because of her child, and she went in there and turned that company completely around and made it what it was, and then sold it and made it into this monstrous company. And it was the model. I looked at that, and I knew she was doing it for her kid. You know, so the beautiful thing about having children is that, forget about all the great stuff about just them, but the thing is that it takes all the emphasis off you. It's not about you anymore. It's about them. So everything that I did from the moment that we had children was with their future in mind. And I never let anyone ever come in again and try to take anything from us ever again. And I didn't feel guilty about doing it because I was doing it for them. So she was a model for me in that sense, that, you know, when you have to protect your interests, and especially if it's for your children, then it makes way more sense than just doing it for yourself.
What a beautiful legacy. And speaking of which, last time we ran into each other was about 7 years ago, and you said that you were so not cool to your kids. Has that changed at all?
Absolutely not. I have to tell you that I know it's not completely true because we're their ringtones. So,
So secretly, they
Yes.
really
Yeah,
do think you're
they're
cool.
so sweet.
Well, I think you're cool. We all think you're cool. And everyone watching knows you're cool, and they want to come back and see more of Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo right here on Private Sessions. We'll be right back.